Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
Okay, we are going to do an update to the Las Vegas real estate market.
Okay.
This update is up to the minute information. Basically, it's every week we get all the new data from Altos Research, and what?
And it's going to be boring.
It will either be extremely boring or change your life. But then, so we'll talk about it here. Okay, Market Action Index 44. It's been between 44 and 46 for a long time.
Right.
It normally, it was doing this in 2019, but it was at like 30 the whole time.
Right.
Like it stayed at 30 for a year and a half or 2 years.
I think it was like 36, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was 30. So when we look now that it's 44, it's been, now remember it was 90 at one point, like 2021 in the spring. It was super hot, right? But that was the craziest market stuff. Average days on the market was like 0 in some price ranges because half the houses would sell literally before they hit the MLS.
Right, because they would be in coming soon status. So people would make offers on them and then the offer would be accepted before the house officially came on the market.
Right. It still says it's a slight seller's advantage. We're going to zip over here to the real-time market profile. The median list price is mostly sideways moving. New listings going up and down, sideways moving. Price per square feet, or price per square foot. Now, Oana, in June of 23, it was $257 a square foot.
Right.
If I had asked you to guess what the price per square foot you thought it would be in October, based on what normally happens year over year in real estate, we have this, and with the seasonal price fluctuation thing, what would you have guessed, knowing interest rates are pretty high?
Right. I mean, so maybe I would have guessed somewhere around maybe 249 or something like that. I wouldn't have thought it would have been a dramatic decrease, but certainly a decrease. But that's not where we are.
It's not. It's 262. Home prices are up. This is unusual. This almost never happens. We'll show you a chart here. The last couple of years have been really bizarre. We went through this in 2021 as well. Home prices did this. 2022 went back to normal. They went up in the spring, down in the fall. But now they're not, and we'll show you why. Days on market, though, still declining, right? Average days on market, which is unusual. Normally it starts climbing about now. Let's see what else here. Inventory. This is interesting. 2455. It barely went up week over week.
Yeah, I think it went up by like 15 houses, so nothing.
In a week. So that means 3 more houses hit the market per day, basically, 2 or 3 more houses in the last week than sold in the time of year when usually there's a bunch of houses on the market.
Right.
And this is surprising. This is super surprising, right?
Well, I mean, it's surprising compared to what we would have normally expected this time of year. It's not surprising compared to last week, the week before, and so on. I mean, we've been in this environment of no inventory. So, I mean, I honestly didn't expect that the inventory would do anything exciting from last week to this week.
Yeah, median rent's basically the same. Okay, let's go over this first chart, price per square foot. You can see the other thing, too, is it was $249 in December 30th of 22. So that's what we started the year at. And you can see it's just climbed. If you look, though, last year, if you look from May to now, it dropped, which it tends to do every year. The last couple of years have been pretty bizarre. Remember, 2019 and 18 prices didn't move very much. We had this super stagnant market, and then it took off. So we got our seasonality back here, but this is a bit unusual to still have prices not dropping yet. We did an article where Zillow said, like, literally next week is the best time to buy a house because the prices are the lowest they would be for the year.
So are you out shopping for a house? What's going on with you? Make sure that you put that in the comments.
Yeah. And then you can, of course, see that home prices are more than they were a year ago today. And then even 2 years ago, so in November 2021, 3% interest rates. In Las Vegas, homes were selling for about $235 a square foot. 262 now with 7% rates. How does that even calculate?
It doesn't.
Okay.
So, look, it's counterintuitive, right? But it's because we don't have a whole lot of inventory, so there's There are more buyers chasing fewer homes, so that's providing a lot of support for prices. Sellers are not ready to put their homes on the market. I think that there might be a little thaw in that in the spring as people just kind of get cabin fever over the winter and say, that's it, I'm done, I'm moving on, I'm selling my house, I'm getting something else, whatever their situation is. But right now, I think that sellers are still staying put, and they're probably going to stay put through the holidays, like I said, until the spring.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering what we're pulling for more inventory. It doesn't do anybody any good when there's no houses to be transacted.
Right. So look, if you are one of these people that says, okay, these are realtors pumping the market, fine. But then what realtors want is a lot of inventory, because inventory means more transactions, and more transactions means more revenue for us. So that's what we're jonesing for, is more inventory. So if you are a seller, hey, give us a ring. We'd love to sell your house. Do we expect a whole lot of inventory? No. Do we expect more inventory in the spring? Yes. Is this going to be a surprise to anybody? Absolutely not. Look, in the spring, that's when most of the inventory comes out. So it's not...
but it churns.
It does.
It gets bought up right
yes,
away.
It does churn.
So there's more sales in the spring, but
right.
When you look at the inventory number, it's lower. All these bottoms you see on this inventory chart, they're all the springs.
Mm-hmm.
And the dots are all the same time as, October 9th of each of the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can see that inventory had peaked each of the last 5 years pretty much on this date, except for 2020. But there was this COVID I heard about that happened a long time ago. I don't remember it. It's in the past.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question then too.
Mm-hmm.
We actually, there's actually a preference to have more houses on the market and have more buyers on the market from that's what realtors really want, first of all, right? More sales.
Right. Realtors want a lot of inventory, and then realtors want buyers, right? Because that just means a lot of transactions. Now, we can't have a lot of transactions with a lot of buyers and no inventory. So inventory is what realtors want. And inventory is what buyers want, because they want choice.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is we do not have the ability. It's not like, the millions of people who are buying a house. How many people will buy a house this year? 4 million people
Mm-hmm.
are literally doing basically what we say. If this is the case, maybe we should switch to crypto or something like that, where we can pump and dump or tell them to buy Tesla stock. I don't know. It's just a bit ridiculous. We never actually say you should buy. We've never said this is a good time to buy. You know what's funny is the one time we said was a good time to buy was it was October of 2022 to January of 23.
Yes.
I'm going to put this chart back up. If you look at this chart, that basically where the price per square foot was kind of dropping and had bottomed out was the time we said it would be a great time to pick up a house. Mm-hmm. Okay, but a lot of people missed it, which is fine. We've never said it's a good time to buy. It's a good time to buy when you're ready to buy.
We have said that you should have reserves. We have said that you should have good credit, have steady income. We have said those things.
Okay, the thing that worries me about this inventory chart is if inventory doesn't pick up, it looks like the trend from October to May or April is that homes will be selling faster than they come on the market, because you can see each year inventory declined. How can inventory decline? We're at the lowest level we were already. We have less homes on the market, or about the same as we had in 2021, and interest rates are more than double what they were.
Right. But I don't think that in this circumstance, the past is a reasonable predictor of the near future.
Okay.
I think that what we've all experienced for the last 3 years has been an anomaly. So I think that we need to look at what's happening in the marketplace in the context of its unique circumstance. And it's not completely unique, and we've kind of talked about this before. It's not completely unique because we can look at the early 1980s for comparison. And that was a time when there were high interest rates, there was high inflation, so that's a similarity to what's happening now, and homes still sold. And what happened to home values during that time is they did still increase, although it was very nominal. And so that's probably a reasonable comparison, with the one exception that our inventory is far lower than it was then, even when you're accounting for the proportionality of it. So I think that's something to understand, that that is a variable that is different. So this market will be somewhat different than that market, in that because of low inventory, you're probably going to maybe see a little bit of a difference regarding values, because you're still going to have more demand than inventory, and that reasonably would lead one to believe that values will at the very least remain consistent, if not increase. Now, will they increase dramatically? No, I don't think so, because I think that the interest rates and the uncertainty, look, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. We don't have a Speaker of the House. We have war in the Middle East. We have war.
We haven't had a war in the Middle East in 50 years. It was 1973 was the actual last war, legitimate war, Israeli war.
And we have war in the Middle East. We have an energy policy that's leaving us wanting, and I'll leave it at that. We have the war in Ukraine. We have other oil-producing countries that are also wanting to vie for attention on the world stage. I'll leave it at that. So all of that presents us with a lot of challenges, a lot of uncertainty. Uncertainty is what the market dreads the most. So does that mean that housing will be unaffected? I don't think so. I think that, housing will definitely be impacted, but the question is how much. I guess my take on it is that I'm not sure it'll be impacted a whole lot, and the reason for that is the low inventory. I kind of keep going back to this, and I'm hammering on this, but the low inventory is really the name of the game. Now, because of what's happening in the Middle East, because of all of this uncertainty, is that going to maybe weigh heavily on the minds of the Federal Reserve governors, and will they maybe consider taming the interest rates earlier in order to prevent a deep recession? That's a possibility. That is a distinct possibility.
Could that make it worse, though?
Well,
because we still don't have enough housing. So, people go, my gosh, it's affordable. Rates have gone down. And then they go out and find out that home prices have spiked because a ton of people now that can afford to buy have jumped into the market, pushed up prices.
So I think, honestly, the people probably better qualified to answer that question are not economists, and maybe not real estate agents, but maybe psychologists. Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the way people think, the way people perceive the world around them. And that's something that this is a sort of unique set of circumstances. It's kind of like COVID was a unique circumstance, right? So it's kind of like that. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen. Obviously, no one's certain of what will happen, but I definitely think that this is going to it's going to definitely impact how people view the housing market and their position in it. And I'm very clear about that. Not just the housing market, but their position in it. So, if you're a seller, do you feel that the uncertainty is a green light for you to sell your house because you feel that home prices will decline? Maybe. If you're a home buyer, do you feel that this is a good time to buy because there will be less people wanting to make a change and less inventory in the future? Maybe. I really don't know. What do you think? Leave us some comments, because this is a very unique set of circumstances in our both political and economic history. So I'm interested to find out what you guys think.
Well, we did talk about some macro stuff, even though we're just talking about Vegas. But I do want to point some stuff out about Vegas, because we're going to have we've got more data for sort of a better macro idea. But here's the thing about Las Vegas. We have more people moving here than leaving. We're adding about 60 to 80,000 net people a year. That's the net number of people that are coming here. So we still have a shortage of housing for people.
Right. So Vegas is really unique, I think, compared to the rest of the nation. Because when there's chaos in the rest of the world, Vegas thrives. And Vegas thrives for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is because tourism tends to grow during economic uncertainty or political uncertainty, because people want to blow off some steam, people want to take a chance. So Vegas tends to do really well. So Vegas tends to be an anomaly in the U.S. economy that way.
Do you know what the number one airport was for passenger deplanements in 2020?
So passengers arriving.
Passengers arriving. It was Vegas.
Yeah.
Now people go, whoa, Chicago and Atlanta and Denver and Dallas, these big hubs for like United and American and, Delta and all these big airlines. But remember, they always count the in and outs. So people might have got on a plane, flown to Dallas and flown to Vegas. But 2020, more people came to Vegas than any other place. You know why? We shut down for about 6 weeks, and then we just said, we're open. And we opened up and literally turned on all the lights, and everybody showed up with their $600 of money and gave it all to us.
Right.
We have the highest job growth in the nation. We lead the nation in job growth. And before somebody, I know it's going to happen, it happens every video, someone will post, we have the highest unemployment in the nation.
Yes, we do.
We've had the highest unemployment in the nation for the last 40 years. We have, because because our economy is a seasonal, it's more seasonal work. We have a lot of people that switch jobs as things change within Vegas. A lot of people don't just work at one job for 10 years. They go to seasonal jobs as they change, and there's periods in there where they're not working. But that doesn't mean so what that means is they work a job for 6 weeks, they make a ton of money. They make like 3 months worth of wages. And then they get a month off before they go to the Formula One track to work there for, 3 weeks. And then they get 3 weeks off, and then they come back and they work CES. And then they get a couple weeks off and they go work the Super Bowl. But they make enough money to be able to pay for everything. But you can't really say, oh, look at all the high unemployment, because the jobs in Vegas are still growing.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons why housing is doing much better than it did last time. The other thing is we didn't overbuild.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. So Vegas is doing well. We foresee Vegas continuing to do well. Yes, there are pockets that don't do as well as others, but that's normal. We've talked about this before, that real estate is hyper-local. Your street might be doing well. The street, 2 blocks over might not be doing that well. Yeah. It's just the nature of real estate. And that's okay.
If you're selling something over $2 million, you're going to have no problem. It'll sell in a second. I'm going to say right now, it's a terrible time to sell in Vegas, or it's a terrible time to buy in Vegas. Worst time possible. You should be selling right now. That's absolutely the best time I've ever seen to sell a house. I think I'm going to go out and sell, 10 rentals just to show everybody how obviously, incredible, great time it is to sell. Exactly. Top of the market, $262 a square foot. Going to take that money and put it into money market or something.
Well, you can go ahead and put in the casinos, because they had the biggest revenues last month that they've ever had.
They had the highest August ever recorded in 30 months of $1 billion. And then there's the casinos added about 16,000 jobs in the last 3 months. They've been adding a little over 5,000 jobs a month to the economy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, some of them are really good paying jobs. Some of them are just okay paying jobs, but remember, casino jobs are not all bad. They do come with benefits. They come with health insurance. So they are actually good employers and good partners in the community.
We're going to keep tracking this every week. We'll see what happens in the spring. If you gave me the over-under on the end of 2025, at this point, I wouldn't even bet. And this is why. I would have guessed in the spring, I would have made an educated guess, but there's been too much uncertainty, mostly in the last month. And I think the uncertainty is a lot of weird things could happen.
Right.
So Vegas, we tend to be insulated from a lot of that craziness because we are a tourism economy. It's not like Formula One's not going to come here, the Super Bowl's not going to happen or anything like that. People are still going to come here. No one's going to cancel their wedding. They're going to come to Vegas for their wedding. So, and people here even during the pandemic, we went to Costco and everywhere in town except for the places that were closed, which were the restaurants, but for a very short time.
Right. And, we have lots of people coming to town to check out the Sphere and the U2 concerts. The Sphere is an amazing venue.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to attending there at some point. Lots of good shows, lots of good things going on in Vegas.
Yeah.
So if you live here, congratulations, you live in a great place. If you don't, come visit us. It's a great place to visit. Remember to leave us comments. Tell us what's going on in your market. If you're from Vegas, tell us what's going on in your neighborhood. Feel free to leave us comments about real estate. We appreciate comments about real estate. Remember to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.